You ready? All right. Hey, welcome to the Father-Daughter Dance. This is the first of 5 little short times that... All right, you ready?
Was I not?
No, you did great.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I wasn't.
Okay.
All right, you ready?
Yes.
Hey, welcome to the Father-Daughter Dance. This is the first of 5 themes that we want to share with you. Some things that we did well, some things that we wish that we would have done much better. And the first is maybe the most important of all, and that is how to engage with fathers and daughters, daughters to fathers. How do we engage with each other in such a way that we're building this thing that becomes a lasting, lifelong kind of relationship? Dads, there's a sense in which that you and I are making an investment in the lives of our daughters. And so we'll put money in the bank, and that's good because we're storing up for the future. And yet, that's exactly what we're doing with our little girls, even at the youngest of age, to invest in them your time, your effort, your energy, the things that you have in life, so that they can see that you're willing not only to say, I love you, which is critically important to a daughter, but to do things that show that you love them as well. So, for instance, Sarah Beth started off as the athlete, and we went to the softball games and the soccer games, but then she found dance. And oh, my goodness, she loved it. She would go to the dance things, and she would come home and show me the dance moves, and we had the dance recitals, and they were all fantastic. And you know how much I care about dance? None. Zero. Zilch. Nada. I don't care about it at all. But I care about her. So for me to give up a Saturday to go all day to a dance competition is something that I wanted to do. For me to go and be at that dance recital and have her finish, whether she did good or bad, have her finish and me be sitting there holding the flowers. That was something that I wanted to do. For me to go to the cheer competitions and watch her as she would cheer, and she's out there with 16 other girls, and maybe she's the second one on this side, but I thought she was the fourth one on that side. It didn't matter, because what I was doing was paying in to be able to have that kind of relationship with her. One of the other ways that I wanted to engage with her in her life is that I wanted to get to know her friends. And I wanted to know their names. I wanted to be not necessarily the cool dad, but I wanted to be the dad that was inviting her friends and creating an inviting relationship to our house. That was true with the girls. That was true with the boys. I wanted to know the boys her age. I wanted to know which guys were good guys, which guys were trouble, which guys were the class clowns, and which guys were the smart intellectual guys. I wanted to be able to know them so that someday when she brought home those terrible words that, so-and-so asked me out, or I'm going, you don't call it going steady anymore, do you? Okay, well,
no.
That's what I heard. Anyway, when she talked about a boy, I wanted to have some framework, some context of who he is and to where he was. We tried to go on date nights, just where we would go to the movie, or we would go to dinner, or we would go get ice cream, just so that we could have that time where we could talk to each other about what was going on in her life. And so that was something that we did well that I think really helped us in our relationship because we were able to engage. Now, dads, I'll tell you, there are a couple things that I should have done better. There were some times that she wanted to do things and my schedule was just too busy and didn't do them. And so she'd say, what about a date night on Thursday? And I'd think, oh, not Thursday. That's the night that I'm playing golf until late. Well, if I was able to go back and do it again, I would say no to some of my own interests so that I could say yes. If I could do it all over again, I would never have her ask me to do anything where I didn't say yes. And, that doesn't end. You asked me to take you to play golf 2 weeks ago. I've played 4 times, haven't played with you. So it's those kinds of things that I'm still trying to work on. How do I engage better with this person whom I love so much?
Yeah, and if I can just talk to the daughters for a second, I think a lot of times we think that it's our dad's job to invest in us, and it's our dad's job to go to all of our events and to be there and to be present. But it is also so important that we are just as engaged with our dads too, and that we are really investing in their activities and the things that they like to do too, because they are, they're people too, and so they have interests, they have hobbies, they have things that they like to do that sometimes we don't have a huge interest in. And so, I think we would expect our dads to go to our cheer, or to watch us cheer, to watch us dance. But if our dad wanted to watch the basketball game, then we would want to be on our phones, or even just being present with our dads. It's just so important to realize that we need to engage our dads too. And so there are ways to do that, just taking pleasure in his activities. So, my dad loves to hunt. He loves to go deer hunting. And so maybe once or twice a season, we'd go out to the deer lease, and it was just such a great quality time, even if, I'm not the best hunter. I've missed shots before.
Yeah, you remember that when I asked you to go with me, you said, I'm not going to kill an animal. Remember that?
Yeah.
And so I said, well, that's okay. We can take a camera and we can shoot with the camera, right? And so the first 2 or 3 times that we literally went with a still camera and a video camera. Tell them the story when the buck came out and we had the video camera. Yeah.
Okay,
remember
so,
that?
Yeah, I did not. I was probably in 5th grade, maybe. I was younger, so I did not want to kill an animal. I didn't even want to eat eggs because I was so freaked out about the idea of killing an animal. And so we went and we got situated in the deer blind just like we would if we were really going hunting with guns. And we put the camera out, and we'd been sitting there, and we were doing everything that we would be doing if we were actually hunting. We were rattling for bucks and being real quiet, and we put on the fox urine, we really suited up like we were going hunting. And out walks this huge buck. My dad said he had never really seen a buck like this, especially on the property that we were at. And I was so excited, and I was filming it and watching it go. And my dad was just sitting there like, oh my goodness. It came out and it stopped, and it looked at us and was just kind of showing off a little bit. And I'm sure if my dad was with, my brothers or with, his friends or his dad, he would have shot that thing and he would have had a trophy. But what was important was we were just getting out there to have the experience together. It wasn't about, what we were actually doing. It was just about being together. And so we got, a 4-hour car ride on the way there just to talk about what was going on and things that, I liked and things that, were just going good in my life. And then we got the whole experience, the whole memory of saying, remember that time that we could have shot that deer, but instead we just shot it with the camera. And it was just as good of an experience as it would have been, my dad being able to shoot it. He was
even
really
better.
Interested. Yeah.
Even better, because her older brother had gone out to the same place the weekend before, and we didn't see anything. We get through, we rush home. I say, I found him. So he and I get in the car, we go back, we hunt for 3 days and never saw that buck again, ever. So now the story of the fact that she and I saw it and shot it with the camera is even better than the story would have been if one of her brothers had been able to do it. And she's always now become the best hunter in our family because of that great experience.
So I think it's just a matter of finding out what your dad likes and going to do it with him, because it's not about if you're interested in it or not. It's just about the experience and the quality time that y'all get to have. So if your dad really likes sports, go to a baseball game together, go to and get off your phone while you're there too, be really present when you're there. And so, go to a baseball game together and just get to watch it with each other and talk while we're doing it. Or, if your dad likes to read and you like to read, then read a book together, or maybe read the same book and y'all can talk about it. Even if it's not super compelling to him or super compelling to you, it's just fun to get to talk about it and just to get to do life together. One of my best friends, Erin, she has 2 sisters, so it's a house full of girls, and her dad would take them on a 5th grade trip together. And so she got to pick out where they went and what they did. And it was just a time that they just got to get to be together. And I think that's the most important thing, is just like asking your dad to get to do things with him and asking him about his day and asking him about things that interest him, not for your own benefit, but for his benefit and just for the relationship of it.
Yeah, so girls, from a dad's perspective, we want to be with you, and it's hard. It's just hard. And sometimes we are really trying, but it's difficult for us. What we want is for our little girl to come sit in our lap and give us a hug and say, "Hi, Daddy, I'm glad you're home." What we want is for our daughter to say, "Hey, Dad, let's go out on a date tonight," or "You're going hunting, I'd like to go too," or "You're doing this, can I go?" Or even better yet, when the dad says, "Hey, I'm going to this place, would you go with me?" And for you to show the excitement to say, "Yeah, I'd love to go," and the two of you be able to go together, that's a really special time for us. And so whether you're 5 years old or 15 or 25, your dads want to be with you. And that's real easy when you're 5 and 6 and 7 and 8. It's really, really hard when you're 12 to 16 because you're so busy and he is too. And you as girls have to find that time and make the time to be with your dads. Now, if you're that one who says, "Yeah, I'd love that, but my dad just really doesn't want to be with me," then you need to talk to him about that and say, "Dad, I'm missing the time that I want to be with you. Please, let's find some time." And just stay on him in a sweet, loving way. And I believe that that he'll find it in his heart to want to be with his little girl.
And I think one thing to add to that is what you were talking about, the affection part. I think growing up with 2 brothers, I was not very good at just being able to sit in your lap and be super affectionate. But I think that's something that is so important. And I see girls doing that, you know, like my cousin Lacey with her dad Keith, like she's really good about just being able to sit in his lap and embrace him. And that's something that I think is like such an important thing and such a good thing to do that I just haven't been super good about just by not being an affectionate person.
Yeah, you're awful at that.
Yeah, well. And just to talk to dads, I know growing up, girls are really, really invested in themselves, or maybe that's what it seems like. And so daughters might not be super perceptive to the things that you're asking. So you might be really trying to engage your daughter. Let's do this. And it might seem like she's not interested, or even if you're trying to ask her questions about how she's doing and what's going on in her life, and if she is not fully engaged or not really going below surface level with you, don't be discouraged in that. I just want to encourage you that it is an investment for the future. And so these things that you're doing, you know, you're still pouring into her, and that's still just as important, whether she's perceiving it or not. Because it will come a time where you've got all these things saved up, and now y'all are able to get deep. And now, you know, because she knows that she can trust you, she knows that she's interested, or she knows that you're interested. And so just looking at it as an investment, you know, just realizing, okay, I may not see the fruit of my work now, but I will one day. And that's just as important. And I just want to encourage y'all in that, and knowing that, in middle school and high school, and still now, like we're still maturing. And so in middle school, your daughter might not have the maturity to say like, "Dad, this is what I'm really struggling with," and
right.
And that's okay. Because it is an investment, and it will pay off, just having that relationship.
All right, so our hope for you is that you're able to engage, that you're able to find those times when you can be together, because that thing at the young age and at every stage, and by the way, if you've done a horrible job at that and your daughter's 16, great, start today. Mm-hmm. It's never too late to start that process. All right, so that's the end of this. The next one we're going to talk about is consequences, discipline, grace, that kind of stuff. So thanks for your time today.